Good afternoon. Welcome back to the channel. This video is not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Do your own research, make your own decisions. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're doing well. It's been a while. Want to kind of catch up in this video. I will get another video out this weekend at some point. And yeah, so got a lot of things going on, not just within crypto, but also all around the world. And I'll give you my thoughts and go over a few different things here. So we had another move higher since my last video, and we kind of broke out of this trend that we've been in, kind of waiting to see whether or not it's a fake out or whether we're going to have a continuation here. And, I kind of stick by what I've been saying. I think alts will let us know, when alts start going parabolic, I think that that's probably going to be the sign. And I mean, significantly more so than what we've seen so far. So we'll see. I'll just go back to something that I said this summer when we had that move up from 17.5. I said, even if this rolls over, we're going to be in this exact same position in 3 months and 6 months and 9 months. At some point in the foreseeable future, we're going to be in this exact same position where the market makes an aggressive move higher and a bunch of people are short, underexposed, or out of the market. So here we are. And, maybe those of you who are bears, you might get bailed out again, but, you were just bailed out, FTX. And with that, a lot of alts dropped 20, 30, 40, 50% from their previous bottoms. But a lot of them never went back to set new lows. And that does, we have seen that happen in previous bottoming periods, where Bitcoin and certain alts bottom at a certain time, but many other alts bottom much, before that. So we'll see what happens. It doesn't really matter to me one way or the other, because the reason why it doesn't matter is because the strategy that I have does not put me in a position to where in a situation like this, I'm panicking because I don't know what's going to happen. And I've kind of put all my eggs in one basket. And so, because honestly, I just don't understand the pushback on dollar cost averaging. I think it is almost entirely because the propaganda machine, if you really do the numbers and look at the math behind dollar cost averaging with these assets, and given the degree of volatility, I just don't understand. I just don't get it. Guys, not to make, I can only speak from my perspective, all right? I try not to tell like, hey, you should do this, you should do that, so on and so forth. But if ICP, let's say everything stays exactly where it is, but ICP makes a move up to the high nines, my entire portfolio, the entire thing, will be in profit without ICP even reaching double digits, because I pushed my averages down so far and because ICP is such a large percentage of my overall portfolio. But given that that's the position that I'm in, why would, what would I be concerned about? It going lower? So what? I would just assume we go lower. I don't get it, man. I really don't. I just don't get it. And that's why I always go back to conviction, because it's the only thing that makes sense to me as far as how people are coming to these conclusions. It's all fun and games until this market runs away. And it's important to note, guys, that we're not just going to do this forever, meaning that huge run up and then almost completely right back down to where it was at the end of that market cycle. Like, that's going to end at some point in time with a lot of these blue chip alts. I mean, you think about XRP and XLM haven't hit all-time highs, I think, in like 5 or 6 years. The degree to which they have suppressed so many of these assets, it is insane. And as long as you don't buy into the propaganda, and as long as you stay objective on the facts and the evidence in front of you, it's a gift. They're just gift wrapping it to everybody. We're going to tell you exactly what we're doing. We're going to put it all out, all over the internet. We're going to be openly saying it on camera. And then we're going to make the announcements of all these companies being implemented all around the world. We're going to do all of that, and we're going to make all that information public. And then we're going to give you dirt cheap prices. And all you really have to do is just ignore the propaganda. That's really it. And, you know, I think, I don't know. I think that, you know, after this all plays out, we'll be able to look back and be able to see this with a little bit clearer perspective. But, you know, it's insane. It really is. You know, these companies were just out in Davos. I mean, you have IBM execs on stage talking about, you know, how this is being used in enterprise use cases and how all this is going to be used moving forward. You got Larry Fink on stage talking about essentially tokenizing the stock market. You got Stellar being my second largest position, right? They told you altcoins were too risky. My second largest position is now their company is an advisor to the CFTC on a short list. Some of the other names on that list: BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Fidelity. I think Uniswap was also on there. But it was probably 15, 20 companies as advisors to the CFTC for global financial markets. Whew, boy. But, you know, it's like people are going to treat this like a game until they get burned. And, you know, it is what it is. That part of it doesn't bother me. It's like when that shit starts to come into my comment section and like all that's when I'm like, fuck off. Okay. If you want to play make believe with all these other fucking idiots, go right on ahead. If you want to buy into all the propaganda, go right on ahead. But at the end of the day, this is the new system, period, end of story. And it's been implemented all over the world over the last 2 years. And these assets are down 90, 95, 98, 99%. And at some point in time, the hourglass is going to run out, okay? And they're going to go just like that. And your opinions about when you think the market's going to move, you want to know how much impact that's going to have on when the market actually moves? It's going to have fucking zero impact. Absolutely none. Like whatever these content creators are telling you, that their opinions are going to have zero impact on what the market actually does. They're just making an educated guess. And that's assuming they even have good intentions, which I don't think most of them do. And I think that there's a pretty good track record of that over the last 2 years. Look at how many of these big content creators were sponsored by companies that are now bankrupt. Look at how many of them were sponsored by FTX. Look at how many of them promoted Celsius. So, you know, anyways. Okay, what else we got? Okay, so, you know, guys, CBDCs are going to start going live this year, more widespread across the world. And from everything they've said, it sounds like we're going to see the introduction of the digital dollar in the US in 2023. And, you know, I think it will be a gradual process, just because of the technical components to it, and making sure that this is a phased type of a rollout. But I guess we'll see how it plays out. But the point is that there's going to be a million distractions. And they very well may use this conflict with Russia and Ukraine. They're starting to ramp up the rhetoric about that. They very well may use that as just a way to accelerate this entire thing. And here's another thing, guys. It's like the majority of the most powerful countries in the world are standing up against the US. And more importantly, or as equally as important, the US dollar. So, you know, people think it's a game, man. People think it's a game. People do not appreciate the severity of the situation. And people do not truly appreciate how big this really is. Like, when was the last time something like this happened in your life? When was the last time they implemented a whole new system all around the world? Not only that, they implemented a whole new, I mean, it's all tech is getting an upgrade right now. And it's going to drastically change the functionality on the internet. When was the last time something like this happened? And you actually, not that it just happened, okay? not that it happened, that you had all the information you could ever need right at your fingertips to be able to capitalize on it. And the most powerful people in the world, the people at the top of the food chain, not that I like that they're at the top of the food chain, just it is what it is. They're laying it all out for you on a silver platter. The only logical conclusion I can come to as far as how some people have come to the conclusions that they have is the propaganda and conviction, but the propaganda largely causing them to have a lower degree of conviction. So, okay, on to ICP. All right. So, Wendy has Dominic on to do an interview. I didn't watch the interview. I've had some things going on here in life. Pretty soul-crushing experience, to be honest with you. But, that's life. And so she has Dominic on, and I've seen more content creators come out over the last week or two on Twitter, and decent-sized content creators, guys. They're all figuring it out right now somehow. And, I'll just repeat what I said last video. I think there's an inverse correlation between how much truth is being told about ICP and how much time you have. Because, ICP being down 99% and a very small percentage or a very large percentage of retail thinking it's a scam, the only reason why those things are the way they are right now is because all the propaganda around ICP, all the dishonesty from the crypto media and from the crypto content creators. I'm loving this narrative that we were all fooled. We all thought it was a scam because blah, 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 blah. No. We all did not. Okay. The large content creators, for the most part, are the people who can say that. Now, whether or not that's true, who knows? But, the most logical conclusion to come to back in 2021 was market manipulation. It wasn't, the most logical conclusion was that, it's a scam. Not when you really dug into it. If you really dug into it and you dug into the team and you dug into a lot of these people's credentials and who these people actually are, who are some of the lead tech people at Definity, and you looked at their functionality, especially after you could get on the network and you could play around on it and actually see what it can do, and you understand to some degree chain key cryptography. You understand what they can do from a technical level that other chains can't. You understand what you can build on that network relative to other options. The most logical conclusion was market manipulation, which is exactly what I said in my video. With no real, well, maybe not. I don't really know. Maybe it's a scam, whatever. People are allowing other people to give them their viewpoints on things. I just, I objectively look at whatever it is and I make my assessment. Now, what everybody else's opinion about that is the least relevant part of my assessment. It actually doesn't even go into my assessment. So I just, there's too much groupthink. There's too much groupthink happening, man. And, it's just across everything. And that brings me into my next part here, is that crypto communities, right? And this is also kind of going to be about ICP, but it's about me. I've seen it in with Algorand. I've seen it with AMP. I've seen it with other crypto communities, right? And this is not any for one specific crypto community. This is happening really across the board with a lot of blue chips. Is that you got a bunch of these people in these crypto communities, which I understand there is a general value proposition for having a crypto community, people staying up to date on development within the network, people, if there is some type of governance, being involved in the governance protocol. But, it's what I'm observing is these communities are a net negative more so than they serve any real positive function. Because you have a bunch of people, most of these people do not have the technical background or experience to be saying half of the shit that they're saying. But You got a bunch of people. I don't know if these people don't work. I have no idea what these people do all day. I really don't. Like, I mean, in a general sense, I have more free time than most people who work full time because I work remote and I'm in sales. But like, I have no idea what the hell these people are doing all day. It's like, I mean, and they just spend all day just nitpicking about different things. And it's almost like they've planted a bunch of people in these communities to drive home a particular narrative, to push negative sentiment, and to just always have something else to bitch about. It's crazy. Like, the fact that people in the Algorand community were bitching about this and that and the other over the last month or so just because the price dropped down. I mean, people are just missing the boat on this, man. I'm just being dead serious. You know, it's like, you know, there's not much time, guys. There's just really not that much time left. You know, maybe it's another 3 months. Maybe it's another 6 months. Maybe it's another 12 months. Who knows? But it ain't going to last forever. And, you know, the market itself really is... Well, let me actually finish my thought here. So, you know, people were just bitching nonstop in the Algorand community. Algorand needs to do this. Algorand needs to do that. Algorand... They don't give a fuck about your opinion. Listen to what I'm saying to you. If you're in any crypto community, there's a few that there's exceptions because their target market is more so us. ICP is a good example of this. But a lot of these other institutional type blockchains, not to say I don't think ICP will be used by institutions, because I do, but I think that's kind of like a next, I'll do a different video about that. But a lot of these more institutional type networks that are, their target market is the institutions. Why would they give a fuck what you think or what your ideas about what they should do? Why would they care? Do you even have the credentials to be commenting? No, the overwhelming majority of people don't. It's just a bunch of people on social media who need to find something to bitch about on a daily basis. And so that's why, guys, like, I would fucking ignore every single, even including myself, ignore all these fucking idiots in retail. These people are a fucking cancer on future return on investment for retail investors. A bunch of fucking idiots with nothing better to do than bitch about whatever it is they're invested on a daily basis because the price is not doing what they want it to do. And that's assuming that these are even real people with good intentions. All of these communities, most of them for the main blue chips, in my opinion, all right, this is an opinion-based statement, right? I probably could prove this if I had enough money and I could hire enough private investigators and shit like that. But a lot of these people, guys, they're not going to be community leaders and members and have a very big platform in these communities by accident. There's too much at stake to have any rogue people having big platforms to say certain things with this. And I mean really as the whole space as a whole. And that's why all these corporate shills are propped up as these content creators, these independent influencers. That's why they're all propped up. That's why they're always, you know, they're always a year behind on whatever it is. They've been a year behind on ICP. And they're just going to gradually start. We talked about how the way that they talk about crypto and the reality of what crypto is and where it is as far as its adoption curve, those two things are drastically, are so on just polar opposite ends. And so they're going to have to start talking about this in a way that more accurately resembles reality. Because if not, they're going to lose all credibility. And if you see what's happening here with these crypto content creators coming out, and now all of a sudden they're really bullish on ICP. They're, in my personal opinion, the people that they work for are telling them what to say, telling them when to be bullish, when to be bearish, when to talk about certain things, when to do certain interviews. So they keep at least some baseline credibility. Because they can't just be god-awful wrong about 100% of everything and still keep any degree of influence and viewership. So that's my opinion. Because, guys, if there's one thing that I understand very well in this world, in this crazy world, it is propaganda. It is propaganda and deception, all right? Because in my prior life, I was a professional liar, all right? When you live the life of a drug addict for years and years and years, you have to get very good at deception, not just with other people, but also self-deception. And if you can ever get to the next phase of that and come out of that, you have X-ray vision when it comes to deception. Or at least I do. I feel like I do. I'll put it that way. All right. I don't know a whole lot of it. There's a lot of things I don't know shit about. If I leave this parking lot and the car breaks down, there's something, you know, clicking under the hood, I'm shit out of luck. All right. But so there's a lot of things I don't know anything about. But when it comes to deception and propaganda, I feel like I have a pretty good eye for it. And I'm telling you, these people resemble the mainstream media. There's so many characteristics and so many traits and so many trends that I notice with these crypto content creators that overlaps with the mainstream media. That's how I was able to say in Thanksgiving, pay attention to the media, pay attention to the crypto media, pay attention to these influencers. If you start seeing more of this, if you start seeing them talking about ICP more, if you start seeing this happen at a bigger scale, something's going on. I wasn't guessing. I'm just following. I'm looking at them like they're the propaganda media of this space, because that's what they are. Their job is to lie to you. Their job is to get you out of position. Their job is to make you think that you're right, that crypto is right here as far as adoption, when it's really 5 years ahead of where they're acting like it is right now. That's their job. Their job is to get you out of position. And that's why so many people in retail are out of position right now. Because they have effectively done their job. They scared the shit out of everybody. It took everybody on an emotional roller coaster for the last 6 to 8 months. And at the end of all of that, at the end of Celsius, Voyager, Three Arrows Capital, BlockFi, FTX, Genesis, and others all going bankrupt over the last 7 months, we're at the same price levels, if not higher, than we were back in June. And what have we heard on a daily basis since June? The sky is falling. Everything's going to collapse. Crypto's not going to make it. It's over. There's not going to be another bull run, Mark Moss. And that's all we've heard for the last 6 to 8 months. But yet prices are at the same levels, if not a little bit higher than what they were back in June. But if you just would have watched and listened to the propaganda, you'd have thought it was over. Finished. The crypto market's done. The crypto industry's finished, and it's over. That's what the propaganda said for the most part. So let me see if I got anything else to go over here. This has been really all over the place. I don't even know if I'm going to post this video. It's too long, and there's not really a lot of coherent thoughts here. That's really all I got, guys. I'll do another video at some point this weekend going over some other things. I don't even know how to make the title for this video because I've, just jumped all over the place. That's all I got. Make your own decisions. Do your own research. And, if you are not where you want to be, like I'm 100% happy with where I'm at, with my positions, with everything. And I would feel that same way if this entire market drops by 30% right now. But if you are not 100% happy with where you're at with everything, just reevaluate. Reevaluate your strategy. Reevaluate your plan. Look at what would be the best course of action. So come up with action items, things that you can actually do. If you're right here and you want to be right here or whatever it may be, just look at what you have to do to get there. Because this isn't going to last forever. And there's going to be a lot of people on the outside looking in whenever this thing does rip. And it's going to rip at some point, as long as implementation continues, in my personal opinion. This might be a fake out, and we might crash right back down. It might go down in 10 and 12K. Who knows? But in that situation, I'm still protected regardless because of the strategy I've selected. So I just don't care. That's it, guys. That's it. I'm done. Take care. Have a good day. I'll see you in the next video.